What do you think about her tweets?
This is the left 101. When it doesn't go my way, it's racist, and any black man or woman involved in the process who didn't agree with them, obviously they're irrelevant. So that was the diss. Just go wham, just complain. I mean, that's what children do. They never can accept a decision. And affirmative action the case was even being brought up because Asian Americans felt that they were not getting a fair opportunity. So rich white people didn't have no.
You are definitely going to enjoy this one, because the universe just served up a crossover nobody really expected. Yet somehow, everyone kind of wanted to see happen. Picture it. AOC steps into the spotlight with her signature energy, fully prepared to deliver a passionate message. The entire stage feels like it belongs to her, at least for a moment. Then, unexpectedly, Tyrus enters the scene, bringing his classic laid-back humorous presence. Suddenly, the moment shifts from intense political drama to a playful exchange of perspectives. What followed was so unexpected and entertaining that it almost felt scripted for a late-night show.
You don't have anything to talk about in terms of merit. You just blame it on rich white people. And it's been a cushion that's been allowed in this country for a long time. And now as you see more, that's the new pillow. My pillow's got nothing on the new pillow of blame rich white people, because you can rest your head on it in any argument. Bring any argument up with me. Anything. Ask me any question. How are the Knicks doing this year? Well, why am I supposed to know that? I'm not a rich white person. See what I'm saying?
Don't forget to subscribe. It truly supports the channel more than most people realize. Politics has always embraced big moments. The kind where someone steps forward, gestures confidently, and speaks as though every word could change the course of history. AOC certainly knows how to bring that theatrical flair. Whether she's walking into a hearing or just grabbing a cup of coffee, she arrives with full conviction and purpose.
Are completely out of touch of everything. This is a big country. Some people, regardless of high inflation, are still going to fly to go. It has nothing to do with lower class Americans who are struggling to pay bills, or people just make their decisions. It's just, they're so out of touch. And they worry about other things, the wrong things like pardons and perceptions and how they're looked at. Instead of like just shutting up, step out of your little bubble, maybe close the safe spaces, walk out on this crunchy green stuff called grass, and get involved in the world and see that
every message AOC delivers comes wrapped with a sense of urgency and emotion. But this time, the moment played out differently. The spotlight didn't stay solely on her. It drifted toward Tyrus, whose ability to lighten any tense political atmosphere with quick humor is practically unmatched. With one raised eyebrow or a well-timed line, he shifts the entire mood of the room.
no, of course they didn't read the decision. And again, these are all successful men and women of color who all have educations, who are sitting on top of the mountain calling foul. Like, this is just the par for the course. It is just, what is the narrative? Oh, that's the way we're going with it? But it was nice to see white men get a break. You know what? Because you've had a rough year. They started blaming some stuff on white women. So you guys get a little bit of the feel.
And AOC never saw it coming. You'd expect seasoned political voices to always prepare for unexpected reactions. But this moment unfolded in a way that surprised even her. She entered with confidence, armed with data and dramatic pauses, ready to inspire the audience. But what she didn't anticipate was that her intense delivery would set the perfect stage for Tyrus' lighthearted, humorous countermoment. His presence turned the room from formal to surprisingly fun.
And we have fan mail, and I just can't listen to those Nate Silvers and these Saliza people just bites into this glorious show. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new.
AOC's speech carried the tone of a cinematic monologue touching on climate concerns, economic inequality, and social issues with the kind of emotional force usually reserved for blockbuster heroes. Yet, even with all the theatrical pacing, the audience responded with polite applause rather than overwhelming excitement. And that's where humor thrives, filling the space. Created by dramatic intensity, Tyrus didn't bring complex charts or sweeping metaphors. He simply brought his spontaneous, unfiltered humor, something that can shift a room faster than any statistic.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she responded to this ruling on Twitter as well. She says, if the Supreme Court was serious about their ridiculous color blindness claims, they would have abolished legacy admissions, aka affirmative action for the privileged. 70% of Harvard's legacy applicants are white. SCOTUS didn't touch that, which would have impacted them and their patrons. Does she have a point there?
She used the word ludicrous. That was cool. That was new. But again, it's the same argument. No matter what you're doing, that it's all white people's fault, and it's just such a great talking point, to the point where it's just literally, if it was a dying horse, would say.
While AOC built her speech with layer upon layer of meaning, Tyrus sat back with the calm of someone waiting for just the right moment to add levity. She leaned into the microphone, pacing with purpose, delivering each line with seriousness. Yet the crowd's reactions stayed restrained, supportive, but not eruptive. The more she elevated the moment, the more room she unintentionally created for Tyrus' humor. And when he finally stepped in, he did so not with confrontation, but with effortless comedic timing.
Used a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate.
The irony is that AOC is skilled at controlling the narrative, shaping the pace, and guiding the room. But humor follows no script. It breaks structure, resets tone, and invites the audience to see things from a lighter angle. Tyrus didn't interrupt or challenge aggressively. Instead, he waited patiently, ready with a well-timed comedic observation. The room wasn't tense because of disagreement. It was charged with anticipation, waiting to see how humor would blend into the moment. And when it landed, it did so gently but effectively, transforming the atmosphere entirely.
Taking a break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back to
The stage was perfectly set. AOC was deep in her passionate delivery, unaware that the tone of the room had begun to shift from intensity to quiet amusement. Tyrus sat ready, wearing the subtle smile of someone who knows their light-hearted perspective is about to strike the perfect balance. When he leaned forward to speak, everything changed instantly. And here's the twist: AOC wasn't even in the room at that moment, making the exchange feel even more like a fun, good-natured commentary rather than a direct confrontation. Tyrus playfully compared her dramatic style to a performer who can turn even simple moments into grand speeches, not as an insult, but as a humorous observation about her signature communication style.
61% approval rating
Yes.
for Democrats, right? The highest of any Democrat unless they've been elected president. So if your new brand ambassador is going to be AOC, then I think it's more than...
Tyrus joked lightheartedly that AOC puts so much energy into her speeches that she probably rehearses them with full enthusiasm even during everyday routines. He imagined her turning ordinary situations into dramatic metaphors, the way passionate communicators often do. He also teased the way she sometimes uses big comparisons to explain everyday issues, suggesting in a humorous tone that she might frame a simple inconvenience as a symbol of larger societal challenges. His examples weren't personal attacks. They were playful exaggerations of well-known habits, delivered with harmless humor.
They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans.
What once sounded like intense political messaging suddenly felt more like creative storytelling. Took it further by poking fun at her social media savvy persona, suggesting she treats online platforms with the kind of seriousness most people reserve for major speeches. He humorously imagined her reacting dramatically to everyday tech issues, like slow Wi-Fi, purely as a playful exaggeration. The room laughed not at her, but at the relatable idea of someone being that passionate online.
French Bulldog. Thanks to Cat Tampa, I know everything about French Bulldogs. And one thing I know, they are so expensive They're more expensive than any college tuition. You got to take care of them. They're adorable dog, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog.
And Tyrus then highlighted the contrast between AOC's bold public messaging and her polished, modern public image. Not in a critical way, but by pointing out how public figures often balance ideals with the realities of prominent careers. He wrapped this idea in a humorous analogy, comparing one of her long speeches to a college lecture that wanders in every direction but somehow remains entertaining. It was a gentle poke, not an attack, meant to lighten the atmosphere rather than tear anyone down.
$80 per theater. I mean, I paid $80 in a theater and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. You know, it's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ.
By the time Tyrus finished, the entire mood of the room had shifted from intensity to playful amusement. AOC's dramatic style, her gestures, her metaphors, her passionate warnings suddenly felt less like urgent alarms and more like material perfect for light political comedy. The moment didn't humiliate anyone. Instead, it reframed the tone, showing how humor can turn even the most serious speeches into memorable, good-natured moments. It wasn't about tearing down her authority, but about reminding everyone that even high-stakes discussions have room for laughter. And once the audience saw her through that gentler, comedic lens, the entire exchange became unforgettable.